the gloves are okay. I like the scarf better. Yeah.
All right, Coach.
Ready to roll? Obviously, exciting time of year. Big Ten play starts. You know, we finished up season one. We summarized that the other day for the guys a little bit to bring closure to that. I thought we got better. I thought the fact that we played 6 away or neutral games. The other day I said Michigan, and I believe DB sent it to me and corrected me. Michigan State was the third one. There are 3 of us that played 6.
Yeah, that's Michigan State.
I think that's right. Yeah, he sent it to me. So we played a lot of different styles, traveled a lot. I thought that made our team closer. We were in a lot of situations where, you know, we had leads and teams came back on us and we came back on other teams when we were behind, and close games and, you know, behind at the under 4 to close the game on a few occasions there. And so all those things, I think, allowed us to grow up at a pretty fast rate. Now, we still have a long way to go and we've got to get better. But I like the progress that we're making, and I really applauded the guys the other day for their toughness and their grit throughout the non-conference schedule. You know, now obviously season 2 starts and Big Ten play starts, so all those things get amped up to another level as you start to attack the conference schedule. You know, obviously Indiana tomorrow, have really enjoyed watching them on film. From the standpoint, I've seen them improve as well. They had a lot of newcomers like we did. They obviously done a really good job with those guys. You know, the development of Farrell from last year to this year, as I watched last year's tapes and the tapes from this year of them playing, is pretty significant. He's really improved a great deal and plays the game even more aggressive on the offensive end. They're really good in transition. They've got great depth. They're terrific on the glass. I think they play really hard. Their defensive numbers are good. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. There's no question about it. But I think, you know, when you look at it tomorrow, I think for us it really starts with transition, starts with the easy baskets, it starts with rebounding. You know, we've got to be able to hold our own, I think, in those 2 areas. Those 2 areas are really key tomorrow. Questions?
I know you're focusing now, Coach, but just looking back on last year when Indiana came in here, what did that do for your program, just that one win?
Looking back on it, I haven't thought obviously a lot about the last 2 days. I'm so, you know, my old boss used to call it day-tight compartments. You know, obviously I think it meant a lot. I was really happy for our guys, the way that they fought through to that point, because at that point we'd gotten off to a rocky start in Big Ten play. I thought they continued to honor the process, and you know, I thought that was it was an exciting game. Obviously, part of the reason it was exciting, as I've said time and time again, is they were really good. You know, they're good. They were a good basketball team. So. You know, we were fortunate to come out on top. I thought it was a great win for our program, and, you know, certainly helped catapult us into year 2.
Coach, have you done anything relative to analyzing what you've done with the zone defense? So how much have you used it? How successful has it been? And does it play a part in this game and the future?
Well, we always have it in our back pocket, Lauren, for sure. You know, we work it every day, you know, just like we do our man. We go against man zone every day. So, you know, in terms of how much we use it, that's more of an instinct thing for me in terms of a particular game or particular point in a game, or, you know, whether we're trying to throw someone out of rhythm. You know, we did that a little bit in the Missouri game. We played it twice there and got 2 key stops there late in the game. So, you know, we always have it available and we practice it, and, you know, it's certainly part of our arsenal.
Have you done anything, like, do you have research on how successful it's been?
Mm-hmm. Sure, we chart everything. I'm a numbers guy. There's no chance we don't chart that stuff.
Is that something you want to keep to yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to let out, you know, exactly, but it's been good for us at times. I think it's, you know, it's like a pitcher who, you know, maybe throws all fastballs. You got to have a, you know, second pitch, whether that's a, you know, splitter, a changeup, a curveball. You know, and we've used it a couple times here and there. It's You know, in some games over the course of the 2 years, Lauren, it's helped us win those games just by throwing a team out of rhythm. So, you know, we'll continue, like I said, to have it in our arsenal.
Coach, what have you seen out of Noah Vonleh so far this year?
Yeah, I've watched obviously a lot of the film here in the last 48 to 72 hours, and he's getting better, getting better fast. You can see all their freshmen getting better, and I'll give it to him. He's played them, and they've had some opportunity, and they've taken advantage of it, and you can tell they're getting better with time. Each game that happens, or as you start to look at them in sequence, I think they're really improving. He's really terrific on the glass. I mean, he's among the nation's best offensive and defensive rebounders. He has a real knack for rebounding the basketball and being around the ball. He has great length. I think he plays really hard. So all those attributes lead to him being really good on the glass. And he draws fouls, and he's aggressive, and I really like his game.
We got a lot of guys who haven't been through this grind that's about to come up with the Big Ten season. Do you do anything to prepare them for that, or just kind of keep doing what you guys have been doing?
Yeah, we talked about season 2, and how the other day as we put closure to season 1 and talked about season 2, we talked about the toughness that it requires, and 18 games, 2 months. You can't get too high or too low in this league. You can't do that. I thought last year's team did a really good job of that, Marcus. And so we just reminded him of that, and we're going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. Each game, I reminded him, is a separate entity. How you play the previous game, well or poorly in some areas, in some ways doesn't have much to do. It's not going to be an automatic that you're going to play well or be tough or execute on offense or execute on defense just because you did it in the previous game. It's not just going to snap your fingers and do it in the next game. You got to will your way to doing that game in, game out. So I think a lot of it's mental. We talked to him about that a great deal over the last couple days, but taking it one game at a time, continuing to make sure that we're tough and together, I think is the most important thing.
John, earlier this season, you were able to play 9 or 10 guys. Is that going to be the game plan in the Big Ten Conference as well?
Well, a lot of that, the players play players. I mean, I've always said that. I've told the guys that. I've always said I like to play 9 or 10 guys. We did that my last 2 years at Ohio. We'd like to do that every year. At the end of the day, those guys have to earn playing time, and players play players. I like all of them. I wish I could play, in this case, all 11 guys. I like them all. They work really hard. But at the end of the day, we make those decisions based on, who earns what. So my hope is that some guys continue to develop and grow and earn more minutes, earn more trust, continue to execute things better. I think they've made some progress. But again, that consistency over greatness theme that I talk with them a lot about is what we're really looking for with some of our guys right now. And some guys are a little bit closer when it comes to that concept than others, but we're still working with all of them and hoping to get them where we need them to be.
Get that early. What's changed with him, I guess, 4 minutes?
Well, I think part of it is he knows this. He's got to play a little bit better than he's playing. Part of it too is some other guys have played really well. Iki, Rice, Bertrand, those guys have played really, really well. Malcolm practices hard every day, has a great attitude. Malcolm's a good player. I told him that the other day. He's going to continue to grow and get better to honor the process. He's going to be good. It's not a matter of if, it's when. With Malcolm. So we're going to continue to work with him, as we all our guys, to help him improve and get a little bit better and hopefully find a way to continue to contribute more than what he is right now. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, players play players. Our guys know that, and they've got to earn that right. And our job is to continue to help them grow and get better, and we're going to work to do that.
Coach, now that 2013 is almost over, kind of looking back, what would you say was your favorite moment of 2013 for your team?
Oh boy, for my team, 2013. Yeah, favorite moment. It's a great question, Taylor. I don't know. I had so many. A lot of them. For me, I would say just for me, the thing that stands out now 2 years running is just the quality of the guys we have to coach, and just spending time with those guys, watching them grow, watching them get better, watch them battle through adversity, watch them experience success. All those things are, at the end of the day, what makes me tick is those guys improving in, as a person, improving in life, and improving as students, improving as players, watching guys come together and play as a team and sacrifice things for one another. I mean, that part's probably, for me, the most enjoyable. I try not to get too high with a win or too low with a loss. I think if you do that, this thing can gobble you up pretty fast. So you got to stay somewhere in the middle. But for me, that's my focus when I get up every day, and I've really enjoyed working with the guys that we've had here in the 2 years.
First time through as a head coach in the Big Ten, had the rough start, great finish. What did you learn through that entire process last year?
To stay the course. More than anything, I think just to stay the course, what I've been telling the guys. And we did that last year, one game at a time, not getting too high or too low, like I was saying there with Taylor. I think that's a real key. You've got to have a balance of being able to handle adversity. There's going to be adversity in these 18 games. There's going to be adversity in possessions. There's going to be adversity all over the place. And I think we've got good enough guys, and we play good enough basketball. There's going to be some successes too, and we got to handle those well. I just think it's that whole mindset. It's such a mindset, such a mental game. And I think certainly in our league, where you're tested every night, Marcus, every game's a dogfight. It seems like almost, certainly a high percentage of the games come down to the last 8 minutes or the last 4 minutes or possession here or there. So I think being able to manage that mentally is really, really important.
How important are home games in the Big Ten for you guys to be successful in those?
Yeah, that's really important. It's important for any of the teams in the Big Ten. I think all the coaches would tell you that. It is important. There's no question about it. We want to play well at home. We do. I think that's a real key. I think good teams, do a great job when they're at home. So we've got 2 to start here. We're taking it one at a time. But there's no question about it. We've got to take pride in playing here at home.
Indiana's obviously done well the last couple of years rebuilding that program under Tom, and you're kind of doing the same thing. Obviously there's been a rivalry here before, but just for these 2 programs to be back in the Big Ten, what would that mean for the conference, I guess, in these programs?
Well, as I said last year standing up here, you look at where they started when he first got there and where they are now. I mean, they deserve a lot of credit. They grinded through it. They worked really, really hard, to build that program. I've certainly watched it from afar, being a Midwest guy and having appreciation for what they've done and what they've built and how they've done it. Obviously they've got great tradition. I talk about that here. You can't fabricate that. It's great. I mean, it's great for we don't apologize for how good our league is. Our league is really good. It was #1 RPI league last year. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being that again. We've got great coaches, great players. Each game's a battle. It's competitive. It's tough. It's what makes Big Ten basketball's a big-time league. I told those guys it's what they sign up for when they come to Illinois. It's what I came for, and now we get to embark on season 2. It's exciting, challenging, competitive. All the things I think if you're a competitor that you enjoy to be a part of. Anybody else on the phone lines?
Hey, John, it's Steve Greenberg. With respect to your ever-evolving rotation, is there a point by which, maybe it's in February, maybe March, but by which it's in your team's best interest to lock into a rotation so you can try to, as they say, peak at the right time?
I just go more on instinct, Steve, and feel. I can't sit here and tell you that thing's going to be rote in February and in March. It very well could be. I'm not going to say it wouldn't be. It could be. Right now we're evolving and growing, and I think it's a game-by-game basis based on matchups, based on how guys practice, based on how much they're improving. I think all those things are, play into it. Obviously you'd like to have a set rotation. I think we're pretty close to that. I mean, we've done that fairly regularly, certainly with the guys that have started the game and our veterans. But we've got to continue to develop and grow our bench. I think that's really important. And we'll see. I mean, long answer, to your question is, we'll see. I hope so, but at the end of the day, the players will determine that.
And this might seem an unnecessary follow-up, maybe this, but is it safe to say the starting lineup is, set the rest of the way?
No, I wouldn't say that either. I mean, obviously those guys got to continue to be tough and together and be about what we're about. Last year we changed it up a little bit in league play. Nothing's ever a given. I tell the guys that. It's not an automatic. You just can't flip the light switch on. You got to have the right mindset. You got to have the right heart, the right spirit. Thus far those guys have. Not only have they performed well, but I think we've got some guys that are leading and growing in that area in terms of leadership. I like their effort. I like their toughness. All those things, have put them in position where, they played some good basketball thus far. But, as soon as you let your guard down, and especially on the defensive end, we really, we grade out every game defensively. That's important to us. You play here, you have defensive and rebounding responsibilities. I don't care what your name is, who you are, where you're from, or what year you are in school. And the guys know that. So, that very well could be the case. Very well could be the case. But those guys got to continue to earn it as well.
Thanks, John.
Uh-huh.
Anything else from the phone line? Final things here in the room.
Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.